to make more money. It's quite simple. Those three ways are: get more customers. So one of the ways that we need to focus on in terms of increasing our performance is to always be focused on getting more customers. Sounds pretty obvious, doesn't it? Secondly, increase your average sale. So when we work out what we normally charge, how could we increase that? If we can even increase that by 1% to 2%, it's going to make a lot of difference when it comes to your yearly results. Okay, and lastly, how do we increase the frequency of customers buying? How can we do that? If we can do all three of those things, increase our customers, increase our average sale, and increase the frequency of sale, it makes a radical difference to what we're doing. In fact, I would challenge you to write down what your current customers are, how many you've got. So let's say you've got 20 customers, just for argument's sake. Increase that by 10%. Figure out what your average sale is. Increase that by 10%. Figure out how many times they buy from you. Increase that by 10%. And have a look at what that figure is compared to what you're currently getting. It will be quite shocking. And it will show you how transformational just focusing on those three things can be. But how does that apply to transforming your website into a customer conversion machine? So this is how you can get more customers. Let's break it down. What we want to use is what's called the triple threat. So that's understanding our customer, finding out what they value, and then creating an offer that matches their value and our understanding of them. If we can get those three things, and it does go in that order, you have to understand our customer to know what they value, and then once you know what they value, then you can create an offer that will work. So this is very, very important that you understand what the value is of your customer so that your offer works. And if you don't know, you really have to find out. So let's move forward and see how we can do that. So, understanding what is the customer's greatest pains. So this is very important, that people are driven by what their goals are, and by a towards goal and an away from. So away from is obviously pain. I want to avoid pain, and I want to have something happen. I want a reward. I want a payoff. So that comes to the second point there, which is what is the customer's goal? And then once we know, okay, what their greatest pains are and what their goal is, well, ultimately what do they want to have happen, we also want to find out what is the customer's process in making a buying decision. How do they do that? That's very, very important in terms of how you set up your sales process and the way you do things. For example, a lot of customers will not necessarily be ready to buy when you want them to buy. So what do you do with those customers? Do you just put them aside and not contact them because they didn't buy? How do you deal with that situation? So that's very, very important in terms of making it happen. And remembering that if we can get this right and get customers to convert to our product or service, it's a lot cheaper then to market to them than to try and keep getting new customers. It's much smarter, especially when you're growing, to focus on your existing database, your existing customers, than to constantly trying to get new ones. So in saying that, as we said, the three ways to grow the business are increase your customers, increase your average sale, and increase your frequency of sale. So if we've got that understanding clear, then we move on. So I want to give you an example, because it's one thing to hear this stuff and to see it. It's another thing to kind of see, well, how would this play out in the real world? So this is where I want you guys to really start taking some notes about who your ultimate customer is and what they're going through, what their pains are, and what is the process that they're going through, and what's ultimately their goal. Now, I know that on the line we've got people that sell cocktail drinks, we've got consultants, we've got all sorts on there. So I know that you'll all have slightly different processes. So let's go forward and I'll show you what I mean. So first off, we've got John. John wants to buy his wife of 25 years some jewellery as an anniversary present. So this is what he wants to do. Now, John's biggest pains is, firstly, how big or small should I go with this present for my wife? And what's normal for 25 years of marriage? I've never been married before for 25 years. And also, what won't break the bank but will leave my wife still feeling very special? So that's the process, and he's also stated there what the payoff is. He's got a looking good payoff, hasn't he? So let's move on to the next part. And what is John's goal? He wants to see his wife happy with his choice of jewellery. He wants to buy good quality, but some good quality that won't require a second mortgage. And lastly, like I say, the benefit is he really wants to look good in his wife's and perhaps his friends' and social circle's eyes. And this is something very important to remember. There is also an emotional payoff with most purchases. And if you can understand that, this will reflect later on in your offer. Right, so what is the buying decision process that John goes through? So first off, he thinks, well, look, I better talk to some women and see what they think. So he asks some women, he knows what they think. Then he wants to refer to his own mates, because he's probably got friends of his own age that have gone through similar types of things. What would they do? And then he wants to go into the actual jewellery stores or go online and check out some prices and see what they've got. And if all of that works out, if he's happy with all of that, with the price and the choice, then he's going to buy it. That is the buying decision process that John's going to go through. So we need to try and meet those things. So let's see what we can do there. So just to make sure that we're all on board, you guys hearing all that? Just let me double check that you've got all that, what I've just been saying in the last 5 minutes. Just everyone check in and just say yes. You've got a little message board on the bottom left. Just type a little yes. Okay, that's great. We're doing so well. Fantastic. All right, so let's see what we would do now to get John aligned with us. Because what happens is now we are really clear about what John values, and we now need to create messaging that meets what he values, as I said. Okay, so let's move on. So this is a page that I mocked up for you guys so you can see how we would do this. So now you're going to see a number of different things here. You'll notice that there are some really clear call to action buttons. And you'll notice there's some very specific language, and I want to talk you through that. So where the orange arrows are, first off, at the top up here, we've got contact us. Now, obviously very important that what we want to do is get sales leads. We want to make sure that contacting us is a prime directive of the website and its messaging. So you'll see that's why it's there. You'll also notice top left that the logo and all that sort of stuff is quite small. It's actually understated. This page is all about the person coming to it. It still can look stylish, but it's about them and connecting with them. So you'll notice all those green buttons, and they all have different call to actions. Now let's have a look at what those... So first off, let's look at the top box here and think about John again. Now he's a mature man, so we've said let our experienced staff, okay, so like him, help you find jewellery that delights the one you love. So that's going to meet his objective and his goal. We have been making husbands look good for over 25 years with our exclusive yet affordable range. So we've got tick, tick, tick. I'm going to look good. You understand husbands that are doing this stuff. You've been around for a long time, so you should theoretically be reliable. You've got exclusive stuff, so my wife should appreciate that. And it's affordable. I certainly appreciate that. And you'll see there's directly under that, there's a call to action. Contact us today. And if you look under that, you'll notice there's a testimonial there. The staff at Justin's Jewelers made it easy and affordable to make my wife's dreams come true. I misspelt that, not wives. He's not a polygamist. So, yeah, Bill from Auckland. Okay, so this is looking good. Other people have had success. Now, I might not be ready to buy. So what are these two offers underneath? So one's called a wedding anniversary guide. Download our wedding anniversary guide here. Yeah, I want to know what's good about wedding anniversaries. That's really good. So we know that this is a very specific jeweler, obviously. They're focused on male customers. They realize that weddings and anniversaries and that sort of thing. So this is very, very niche. So remember, this is conceptual, but this is how specific you need to be. So he's going to get a free anniversary guide there, so something that he can refer to. On the right hand side, complimentary consult. Book a no pressure benefit consultation for your special present here, so you get it 100% right. Again, matches what I value. I don't have to pay anything, and I can talk to someone with experience. Again, making me feel secure and making me feel like this is a good choice. And then underneath that again, contact details. So we're very, very sales lead and contact driven. But you'll notice how it's actually quite clean and clear and very, very specific. So let's move along. Right, so now after, let's just say that John goes, yeah, I'm excited by that. Then what we want to do is create a valuable offer. So you'll see with this offer again, I've got a what's called a hero picture, which is this picture on the left here. I've got a contact us. You'll see the title of the product matches what he values. He's looking specifically for a bracelet or jewellery that matches 25 years. A 25-year anniversary is silver. That works. Diamonds. He knows women like diamonds. And you'll notice that there's a subtle little statement under here. Limited availability due to demand. It's very popular and there's not many of them. Another thing that my wife will appreciate, that not everybody's got this. Then you'll see a number of features. Premium diamond encrusted pure silver bracelet. Limited edition design. Guarantee of quality. Okay, a guarantee, that's good. Reducing risk is always excellent. Replacement option. If I get it wrong, I can replace it. Fantastic. Easy payment terms over 36 months. Okay, I don't have to pay in bulk. Even better. Secure your purchase. Okay, I'm just about there. Let's read these other two messages. You can rest easy with Justin's 100% guarantee of quality workmanship. Wow, that sounds pretty great. And then again, we've stated the testimonial. But you'll notice there's really only two things you can do on this page. Buy or contact us. So it's very, very focused on trying to convert to sale. Okay? So they either contact us to come into the shop or they can buy it right now. So that gives you an understanding of how that works with trying to get your message and then put it into a website page so that it translates really well, really clearly, really simply. The formula for all of this is when I come to your website, I need to clearly know what it is you do, what I will get, and what to do next. If your website doesn't state that, then there's a problem. It needs to be very, very simple. I don't need to hear about your history. I need to hear about the benefits to me. I need you to understand my needs and my values almost better than I do. And if you do that, you'll find sales conversion is a lot easier. But there's still more to this. But now you see how to set up your pages. I know there's quite a few people on this call who have struggled with their messaging or getting their homepage to really stick out and resonate. And that's because they haven't identified clearly who their ideal customer is, namely someone like John, and so they're finding it difficult to articulate that. So hopefully this helps you guys. All right, let's move along. So we've now figured out how we can get some more customers in terms of conversion by understanding. So how do we increase the average sale? So this is an interesting one, but I'll take you through some simple techniques and then also get you guys to give me some feedback. So how do we, and the way that we can increase our average sale is again by removing pain and supplying gain. When it comes to the actual sale itself, it's easy to do. For example, one of my clients is a design agency, and they would turn around work very quickly for clients simply because they asked. So what I said to them was, you should charge for that service because this is something that they value highly. And so they created some cool terms like light speed and hyperspace, like stuff like this for how fast they could turn stuff around. And this increased their average sale by 32%, just that one thing alone. So the second one on that list we've got here, payment terms. If you can give people two options for most things you do, you reduce the risk of them saying no. So they can pay cash or they can pay in terms, depending on what type of consumable you've got. So you might have a service, you might have a large ticket item, or you might have a smaller item. But that's just one of the ways that you can do it. And obviously for larger ticket items, that's something that's more relevant. Insurance. I want to make sure that whatever happens, you will stand behind this. So it might be an insurance on, say, courier or travel or something like that to make sure that things get to you in time, and people will pay for that because they want to ensure that it's safe. Like when you go onto Air New Zealand now or any flights, you will always find that they will try and sell you insurance, and they will amplify the fact that you might change your mind. And they amplify your fear because they know people buy emotionally and defend it logically. So after that, we have a guarantee. Now, in online marketing, they would call this a reverse risk guarantee. Now, why that is because exactly that. If I have a guarantee of what I'm buying is going to work, then the risk is being greatly diminished. But the reality is when you offer a guarantee, whilst it sounds scary, is less than 5% will ever come back at you with guarantees. So the amount of sales converted versus the amount of sales possibly refunded it's very, very lopsided. Then we move on to more sales process driven ways of doing it, an add-on sale. So for example, with John who was buying the jewellery, he might buy the jewellery, but what sort of case is it coming in? How will she store the jewellery? These are things, is there a particular way of cleaning this jewellery? These are things that you can add on. At Freedom Furniture, I was National Staff Development Manager there, and we would often sell leather cleaner for people buying leather furniture. And we would also buy things like, again, insurances and guarantees and things like that and payment terms. So we actually did 2, 3, 4 and 5 of this list. And that was quite common. A cross sale. Now, a cross sale might be something that's related, but it might not be specific to that sale. So, for example, a cross sale might be, we've got a special offer on flowers to go with the jewellery from someone that they're partnering with. Or they've got access to something that they think might amplify it. Or we can add a personalised card. Things like that. Underneath that, subscribe. So subscribing, say for example you want to educate people, you've sold them something and they're very appreciative, and then you say, for example, I've done a course with you or I'm one of your coaching clients, and now I want to get I want to get, your best expert tips. Then you say, oh, we've got a $7 digital magazine, and for just $7 a month, you'll get your very own copy. And so people go, okay, that sounds easy. $7, that's neither here nor there, no problem. But $7 times 12, it starts to add up. You get 100 people on that, you've got some pretty good money. Solution selling. Now, solution selling or category selling is stepping away from your product and looking at the big picture. And what that means is, let's say, for example, you're a coach or a consultant or a healer, and so you look at their life and you know what you can sell to them, but you think, I know lots of other people that would be able to help this person with their situation. And this is where you can start to think about how you can increase your product suite. You might be able to sell something on behalf and take a cut. And if you know your customer well enough, these opportunities will become very obvious to you. And lastly, I've got partner deals. And again, that's an extension from what we were talking about. So you might find, say for example, I've got Jason on the line, and Jason is selling his fantastic drink called Passionberry, and we think, okay, what would go well with this, say for a party? And it might be chocolates, it might be some fruit, could be any number of different things. And we create like a product bag or box or some type of thing like that, and we put it all together, and we get a special rate, so we make more margin. So there's a number of different ways there that you can remove pain and supply gain and increase your average sale. And all of this comes from understanding your customer. And how you understand your customer is asking great questions. So the shortest sales course in the world is ask great questions and shut up. And that is an age-old adage, and I would honestly, if you are still unclear of the value you offer, you need to be in conversation and asking more questions. Right, let's move on. So I just want to show you guys how you would do an upsell or a cross-sell on your website. Are you all there, guys? Can you all type in, yeah, I'm here? Just making sure you're all still awake with me. All right, great. Got a few of you guys in there. That's awesome. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Oh, Fiona's there too. Woohoo! Okay, cool. Go the Foxies. Okay, awesome. So this is how you would look at when you're doing an upsell or a cross-sell. So if you have a sales page, so sales page is, say for example, Justin Cunningham presents the Cunningham collection of marketing expert knowledge, and you go, get my volume of marketing knowledge, and you go down it and you go, okay, that looks cool, yeah, I want to get that. So you click on the call to action on the sales page, and you think you're going to go straight to a payment page, but instead you go to an upsell cross-sell page, and it says get my volume of information plus get a consulting package with me, a webinar package I should say, with 5 other experts. And so you'll see there's a button there, yes please give me access, and then you've got an option underneath that which you would normally make a bit smaller actually than this, because you're obviously trying to get them to focus on the give me access. And now what happens is that you might think, oh, that's a little bit over the top, but look, if 1 in 10 people that are buying off you click on that yes please give me access, that's a fantastic return. And all you had to do was create 1 more page, and then they go to the payment page. Now you'll see I've got under there with opt-in checked. Now what that means is that when you create your payment page, write a little statement saying you will also get access to such and such and such and such with payment of this product. And so you've alerted them to the fact that you've got another thing you're going to send to them, and once they pay, you've said, okay, that's confirmation. And so now you've got them, again, you've got them into, you're making sure they're in your sales funnel for future communication. So that is really clever, and that helps a lot. So you're doing two things there, making sure you're communicating with them and hoping to try and increase your average sale. All right, excellent, guys. All right, let's move along. There will be, by the way, we will be having some questions. So I'm going to open the floor up. I've had a look at a couple of the people that sent me their websites, and I can give you guys some feedback with that. Okay, so how do we increase our sales frequency? So this is something that I think a lot of people struggle with, and really the solution is quite easy. So with that being said, let's move on. But first, I want you to think about how long do customers keep buying from you? So how long do you have them for? Okay, and the second question is, how many purchases do they make in that time? Okay, so I want you guys to get your pad, your piece of paper, and think about this. How long do you think you have them for? And then I want you to figure out how many purchases do they make in that time. And come up with a dollar figure. Now, and then what I want you guys to do is just put that dollar figure in the message box. And what I'll do is I'll just have a look at that. And this might be hard for a few of you, especially if you're new. So just have a bit of an educated guess. And I'll explain why this figure is really important. Okay? So if you guys just think about that now, and then when you've got time, just write it in the little box down the bottom. Nobody else can see it but me, so that's fine. That's funny, Samantha. Okay, nice one, Denise. Okay. Okay, we've had a bit of feedback there. Anybody else? Give you another 20 seconds. Okay, that's good, Verity. Nice one. Okay. All right. Nice one, Kristen. Yeah, that's what I would have thought too. Okay, so now when you look at that figure, what you've just figured out is what your customer lifetime value is. Now, I would strongly suggest that most of you've got some pretty low figures there. So, for example, Jace, I think you would get a lot more than that, and I'll show you how we can do that. Verity, I think you're pretty good. I think you're on the money. Kristen, I know you're on the money. We know that, and yeah, Samantha, I definitely think that we can sort that out for you too. So let's have a look at my friend Jason on the site on the webinar is saying, "Show me the money." Okay, all right, let's show him the money, eh? Okay, so it's really as simple as this. We need a touch point strategy. When you have a touch point strategy, you increase your sales conversion. In fact, the leading sales authority in America and in the world, they've reviewed over 600,000 different salespeople, has proven that 5+ touch points increase your sales conversion by 80%. But most people only communicate once or twice with potential customers, which goes to show you that persistence beats resistance, and that we must make sure we're capturing people and communicating with them consistently until they're ready to buy. And then once they have bought, then what we want to do is keep that relationship going. Keep reminding them of our value, and keep thinking about and asking them good questions to establish that value as we did before. All right, fantastic, guys. Thanks very much for your feedback with all of that. So all you've got to do there is think about, okay, what are all the different ways that I can touch my potential customers, all the different channels, and how can I do that? So some examples of ways that you can communicate with your customers. So you've got email messages, obviously, social media posts, specialist forums and groups. Physical mail is becoming very, very popular. So, and the reason is because physical mail was the new digital. It used to be, people were like, oh, I've got a letter, I don't really want a letter. And now it's like, oh, emails, oh, I don't really want another email. And so when you send something in the physical post, people get very excited. So this is and it's actually pretty cost effective. Depending on, again, what is your average cost of sale and what's your lifetime value. Now, moving along. So then we've got things like special events. So you might get, say, 2 or 3 different people in an event with you. That's another way of adding real value. Again, potential partners, for example. Educational opportunities. So obviously this webinar is an educational opportunity. This is a way for me to reach out and touch people and say, hey, remember me? And this is what I do. And in case you weren't sure, this is the value that I offer. And then you've got traditional advertising. So pay-per-click or banner ads or newspaper or radio or whatever it is, or specialist magazines or publications. And then you have networking. So most people are a part of at least 1 or 2 networking groups. And what this does again is it just keeps you in front of people. You might not always get a lead every time you go to these networking groups, but if you go every 3rd time and you know it's going to turn in, every sale that you get turns into a significant amount of money, you can work that out versus cost versus what I'm going to get. Now that you've worked out your lifetime value, by the way, you have now worked out how much money would I be prepared to spend to get this customer. So this is a good way to figure out your budget for marketing. Some businesses that are just starting out, obviously, they might have to spend a little bit more to gain traction. But this is the best practice way of figuring out what your budget is working out what the cost of a sale is, what your lifetime value is, and that's how you work it out. Okay. So, questions. Oh, here's a good question. What do I use to attract people on my website? So, it's a good question because a lot of people would use a newsletter or something to that effect. My impression of newsletters is kill them. Nobody wakes up thinking they want a new newsletter. They want something that's got benefits. So if you have like an expert webinar, or you've got some sort of resource that's going to give me specific direct benefit and value, that's much more attractive to me. So the title needs to be right, and it needs to show that I'm going to get a specific measurable result. Okay, so whatever you're doing, whether it's videos or ebooks or reports or white papers or any of that sort of stuff, you must make sure that the values of our ideal customer are being met in the title. Okay, so I've got a couple of good questions here. Jason said here, how much of your message to your customers should be entertaining and how much should be informative? That's a really good question, because I think you need to establish what you stand for. You've got to be clear about what you stand for and clear about what you don't. So what I mean by that is that you can't be all things to all people. Have an opinion. That's okay. It's okay not to be liked. It's okay to stand out. That's actually very much better in terms of your marketing. So I always think that, like, for example, I think swearing a lot is probably not that clever. It shows you've got a bit of spark to you, for example, but I don't tend to do it much, if at all. And I would be erring on depending on what sort of product you've got, I would be, like for example, Jason, with you and your product, I would be focusing on entertaining and informing them about how they can have more fun and stand out, as that's what your product is focused on. So hopefully that helps you with that. Greg, is there a specific program you use for improving your website in the way you've mentioned tonight? Another great question. So everybody has different types of customer relationship management systems like MailChimp or Infusionsoft, or there's a number of different ones out there. And so people have different ways. Like some people will use Google Analytics to have a look at what's going on their website. But the problem that a lot of people suffer with Google Analytics is they struggle with trying to interpret what that means. What do I do with that information? And so more often than not, the best way to look at this is to set up your pages or your offers so that you know where the traffic came from, so you know how much traffic you got from that promotional source, and then what sales did you get, and then you can very quickly get a good understanding of what your conversion rate is and what your return on investment is. Let's see, what else have we got there? But these are things, some of these questions I'll need to speak to these people individually, but and I'm more than willing to do that after the webinar too, by the way. How important is SEO? Well, SEO is very important. You've got to be found, and once you've done this exercise of revealing all these key values, then the idea is that you want to kind of dominate that space. Now, there's lots of different ways that you can make your search results work for you. And one of the simple ones, without having to spend $1 million with SEO, even though I would thoroughly recommend you do go and make the effort, is create lots of different content in different formats with the same name. So, for example, if I had Justin Cunningham's Customer Conversion Machine PowerPoint, Justin Cunningham's Customer Conversion Machine PDF, Justin Cunningham's Conversion Machine YouTube clip, and so on, and a Word doc, and I had all of those that you could see, then Google loves me. They see that that term is associated with me, and multiple formats drives up those key terms in terms of your relevance. Okay. So I've got Greg Longstaff sending me some information about some stuff he's come across. Thanks, Greg. I appreciate that. I have to look at that another time. All right, great. So do we have any more questions out there? Specifically about you and your website and what you're struggling with. What are the biggest problems that you're facing right now? Couple more minutes, guys, and then I've got something I want to show you. Nice one, Kristen. Yeah, that's a great question. How long is a piece of string is my answer to that. Kristen said, how much to spend on upgrading your website? A lot of people I come across have got websites that are broken. And depending again on the back end, like can you do it yourself, or do you need to get the supplier to do it? Obviously, when you get the supplier to do it, it costs a lot. So whilst when you get sold on these websites, it seems like, oh, that's nice and easy. Yeah, it's easy when you go to buy it, but it's not easy long term when you're trying to change things and increase your response rates. Unless you've got it set up very well. You have to have your strategy right. That's something I help a lot of people with. Now, again, if you've already got a website, you're looking at it, then that's kind of neither here nor there. But there are quick fixes as well. And that's something I can help you guys with. And if anybody wants to email me, you can email me, and I'll give you my email address later on and we can get specific. Samantha, okay. Finding the wording. I've got something I want to show you soon, and that will help you with that. Jason, yep, okay. Converting viewers, yep, converting those visitors. I understand. You will see from the examples that we've already shown tonight that will make a lot of difference in terms of connecting and also making sure the call to action is very present. Verity, yeah, no problem. Yeah, rebranding, all that sort of stuff. As you can see, the images that I used before in the presentation, they were just done on a Word doc. I've done this so many times for websites, it's really quite simple for me to work with. If you've already got someone that develops websites or you do it, I can give you a framework. I can work with that. I can help you guys out. Right, Samantha. Yeah, okay. So we just need to get some strategies there, Samantha, in terms of getting people to come to your website. You've seen quite a few different things now and ways to do it. It takes a commitment from you in terms of what you want to do. And sometimes the DIY thing just doesn't quite come through. And I know I did it for a long time until I started reaching out to other people and realized how slow my results were really slow because I was slow to act. So let's talk about that. Okay. All right, guys, thanks for that. Right, so I just want to move on. I've got something that I want to talk to you about, and I've been working really hard on this because what I can see is that people really need to know if they've got attraction, are they any good at conversion, and how would we assess that? So I want to do that. So the first element, as we discussed today, is customer value clarity. I want to help you guys get really, really clear on those values, like John, what was his values, and I want to show you how to do that. I also want to help you with using language that converts customers. Language is one of the most vital parts of your website. If your language is not right, having a pretty website's not going to make any difference. So you've got to get that right. And again, I'd love to help you guys out with that and analyze currently what you're doing to see if you need help. Customer attraction process. So this relates to what you were saying, Samantha. What is your actual process of attraction? Most people don't have a process. They've got a few things they tried, but they haven't actually worked out a systemic process that will deliver results. And a customer conversion process. So we discussed all of these things today in this presentation. So I want to review what you're doing currently with your visitors on your website in your sales process that helps convert customers, both online and offline. Doesn't have to be just your website. And your customer touchpoint strategy. So this relates back again to increasing frequency of sale. And also, if you have, say, got subscribers but you haven't got any money out of them, what are you doing in terms of a strategy to get them converted to sale? So I want to do all of those things. So as you'll see here, so normally I would charge actually probably more than $497 for all of that. But I want to help you guys. You've turned up tonight, so you can see the power of all those things from what was said today. If you're struggling to get customers, it's because you have a lack of clarity in terms of what they value. If they're coming to the website and they're not converting, it's because we haven't created the right offer. If we're struggling, if we have up and down results with attraction, it's because we're relying on one thing and we don't have a systemic process. If we're finding that we're getting them there and yet somehow we're getting them into our sales funnel but they're not dropping through to sale, it's because there's a block or a gap in your sales conversion process. And if we're finding, again, that we've got a lot of people on our list, but a lot of them aren't coming back to us, it's because we haven't been communicating. So this is limited to 5 people. Okay, that's it. I'm just, because again, I don't normally do this, and $97 is a lot less than what I would normally charge. But what I want to do is help you guys out so you can see the value, get really clear, get yourself a blueprint, get yourself the exact steps. But first off, you have to know what the problem is. If you don't know what the problem is, then yeah, you're just guessing. So I want to help you with this, and now you've seen exactly how this will work. Okay, great to see Samantha's going to jump on in there. So there's only a few left. So moving on from that. So if you would like to get that today, you want to gain some access to it, this is the sales page. It's Justin Cunningham online /attraction_conversion_assessment. I will send you an email with this as well. Now this page and the special price is up for the next 24 hours. So between now and 9 o'clock tomorrow, and then I'm going to take it down. So if you would like to take me up on this offer, go to that address there and we'll go through, and I will also send you an email. Conversely, you can also email me on info@justincunninghamonline.com if you haven't got, if you didn't have a pen, if you didn't take the information down. So again, that information, if you would like to get the attraction conversion assessment, and then we'll diagnose and easy to implement steps for you to increase your results. I'm not interested in just telling you theory. I want to show you steps like I did tonight. I know how frustrating it is, learning, and nothing changes. I want to change that for you tonight. So again, normally $497 just for tonight, $97, but limited to 5 people, and I don't think it's going to last very long. So please get in there and sort that out. I wouldn't want you to miss out. So to gain that, Justin Cunningham Online /attraction_conversion_assessment. And again, that offer will be up for 24 hours.